All right, so 3:30 in the morning. Um, I was supposed to come back and I was supposed to do my collection addiction, which I'm gonna put on hold because it's 3:30 in the morning and I kind of got to get some of the pictures down and all that. Um, Normally I would be standing, but I just got off of work and um so anyway, this is what WT Friday, what the Friday, what the fuck, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just gonna talk about what's on my head in my head. Which is what this show really is. Typically I kind of say what's going on, but um I just anytime I think my life is getting better, I always make a stupid mistake. And pretty much did that tonight too. Um got off of work and just sped, and now I have a ticket for careless driving. Great. So pretty much everything I make tonight, tomorrow, and yesterday, all gone. I have no outlet. Um, that's what I'm kind of hoping that this kind of becomes for me, these shows, because I know I've had such a creative side of me that I kind of enjoy doing. Um, but part of my life has always been kind of just being with me. Um, I'm an only child, but I'm also the middle child. My dad has a few kids, not with my mom. And so I'm the only child with my mom, but I'm technically the middle child with my dad. And I don't really know that side of my family. I don't even know my dad really that well. As most people can see, whenever I put the banner off, you see that my name has the second on the end. Um, really kind of sucks when you don't really know the person. Um, and then when you don't look like him. I know my mom every now and then says I do have mannerisms and all that, but it's really weird because then you see like my sister and my brother, me, and then you see my dad, and it's like all three of them have blue eyes and blonde hair, and as you can clearly see, I have brown eyes and brown hair. I was born a dirty blonde, and you can kind of see blonde highlights throughout my hair. Um, but that's about it. So it's I don't want to say it hasn't affected me because he hasn't really been a part of my life. But I mean, no matter what, it affects you. Um, Kind of never feeling like you fit. And then when you find those people, like my friend Katrina, who I care about so much, and I know because she's directly said it that she cares about me, but she's also stubborn as hell. And that's where this year from hell kind of started. I went to go see her one day and she was so mad at me. And her being her, she didn't want to talk. And I still don't know why she's mad. Um, but I'm also the type that, especially because I know her, that I can't just give up. She's also the type that if she didn't wanna be friends with me anymore, she would've told me to get the fuck out, get lost, all that kinda stuff, and she didn't. She just, she's kinda just being her and being stubborn. But, she's family, and, I care about her a lot. Like I said, it's so hard when you find someone or people that you kinda feel like you belong with. You don't feel like an outsider anymore. So, I'm never gonna give up on my friends, and I'm never gonna give up on my family. And, I know a lot of people still say I should give up, but when I was going through the roughest time of my life, which was when my daughter's mom left me, um, I started pretty much reaching out to anybody, and not a lot of people were willing to talk. I mean, going back to posts and stuff, I was clearly going through some hard times, and not a lot of people would talk to me. And some really didn't help and did some very negative things like deleting me and blocking me and just kind of not not seeing that I'm trying to reach out. I need someone to talk to. Um, about 2 weeks back, it was Facebook on this day, which by the way, I always hear Edge's theme song when I hear that. But I saw this post, and I always, whenever there's like more than one comment, I always go in and I kind of look at the comments. And it was when my buddy Adam from high school, because I know two Adams, when he kind of he let me know, hey man, I'm actually still here. He didn't say that. He just kind of invited me to Buffalo Wild Wing, and we watched a boxing match. I'm not a big boxing kind of guy. I typically like wrestling. That's the only sporting event that I really like because it's all story based. I don't get most fighting sports because I'm like, so let me get this straight. You're gonna degrade a person that's worked their entire life to get to this point just because just because you either want their title or they want your title, and you're gonna just completely and utterly degrade each other for what? You guys are doing the same thing. I just I feel like UFC and all that, MMA fighters, I feel like they have like no respect for each other whatsoever. And I know everybody's like, do you watch wrestling? I mean, they brought up Jeff Hardy's freaking addiction so badly, but I know that it's story. There are some in the back that, problems, but at least then it's legitimate problems with each other, not just, oh, you're coming after my title? Well, you're a fucking piece of shit. You're daddy, blah, blah, and just really going at it. So I just don't care. And then, I used to be into NBA when I was in elementary school. 90s best time to watch the NBA, no matter what. Especially I'm in Orlando, and the Orlando Magic was one hell of a team back then. I mean, when you can name more than two players on a team and you barely watch it, it's something special. We had Nick Anderson, who was the first draft pick of the Orlando Magic ever in the 80s. You had Penny Hardaway, you had Darrell Armstrong, Horace Grant, Dennis Scott. I keep Shaquille O'Neal too, but I keep forgetting there was the other center was a tall white guy. I can't remember what his name was, but I used to know him. Like I used to know all their names. So I kind of fell off on all the sports. I used to play basketball a lot with my cousin Heath, and when I went to Michigan, me and my mom tried to be with my dad. When I went to Michigan, I was playing basketball and I was guarding this kid, and he got pissed off and he hit me in that place right under your rib cage, which if you get hit there, you basically cannot breathe. Um, I don't know how it affects. I'm not a science type person, but you legitimately just can't breathe. Um, and that kind of made me not want to play anymore. So, and being an only child, and I had my brother there now, I played catch with him and we'd do stuff like that, but I kind of got away from sports. The only reason I actually watch wrestling is because I didn't have cable, and on UPN on Thursday nights, SmackDown was on, and Matt and Jeff Hardy, the Hardy Boys, and then the gorgeous Lita. Um, there was just something about them that I connected with. But I'm going off on a tangent, so back to Adam. So he invited me to Buffalo Wild Wing. We watched boxing, and then while I was there, I got invited to their wedding, and it really helped because, like I said, I was in a really really bad place in my life, and like I said, I was reaching out to everybody, and most people weren't as nice. And I remember I went to the wedding, and I was by myself, and it was great. Adam cried, and it's a great wedding, but I got to a point where I couldn't do it. And if they end up watching this, I gave them a bullshit excuse that I wanted to go be with my daughter. I just couldn't be there anymore. So, like I said, going through some hard shit. And then like still going through it. And then I got a job at Pizza Hut. I still tell the story, man. Hillary hired me and she introduced me to Katrina, and I could talk about Katrina forever. But she said now I hadn't had a job in years because I was a stay-at-home dad. Um, so getting this job was kind of like something special, but I was scared. I was really, really scared. And I remember she said that I was going to get about 12 to 15 hours, but don't ever expect to see the 15 hours doing mid shifts. Most likely they'd send me home and everything. The first week I worked 12 hours, 12, 13 hours, and then the next week I was scheduled 36. And 2.5 years I was there, and from that point on, the lowest I ever saw was 32 scheduled. Um, towards the after the first year, I was typically getting about 45 hours, and then towards the end of my career there, I was scheduled 50 hours, which I always found it kind of funny because Dana, for a bit, it was me and her as the two main managers. Um, really sucked. I kind of feel bad about it now, but I wanted to hate Dana so much. I did. I wanted to hate her so much because her and Katrina, fucking two alpha females, butted heads, and Katrina ended up transferring. And I didn't know Dana enough at the time that I couldn't play the middleman, and I hadn't been a manager but like 2 months, so I really couldn't play the middleman. So I wanted to hate her so much because At that point, I was working so often that I'd basically be seeing her 7 days a week. It felt like high school, felt like I finally belonged somewhere. And and then she was gone. I still saw her, I still talked to her, all that, but it was the principle of it. And I remember they were harping on Dana for me getting so many hours, so we started controlling my hours, and I came in at like 4 one day, and it was really, really slow. And I was the closing driver, so it's like she can't send me home early. And I was being understanding, so I said, I'll stay off the road, but as soon as it picks up, which I mean, typically at that store, Friday night, 5 o'clock, it would pick up. It did not, and I ended up staying at the store while not working for about 3 hours before she kind of goes, "We're still not busy, but I need to put you on." She goes, it's still not busy, but you need to make some money. And for those 3 hours, I pretty much talked to her the entire time. And then I will often say that's when I started considering her a friend. And she's still my friend. So it was nice. But towards the end of my thing, I truly believe that's one of the reasons why she was transferred, because she would have defended me. But towards the end, doing basic math, I stood to make about 45,000 a year, and I was the most reliable employee. And I gotta plug my phone in. I just realized my phone's like at 40%, which I don't really want it to be. Um, I was the most reliable employee. They worked me like a freaking whatever sled dog. Let's go with that analogy. I mean, I remember I was going to Survivor Series one day, going over to my buddy Adam from high school, and they called me. It's like, dude, we need your help. It's so busy here. I said, I mean, I'm getting there early. I can spare 2 hours. I ended up staying there for 4 hours. The screen was 25 in the hole, which meant that there were 5 orders on the screen and 25 orders that you could not see. And it was busy. And in those 4 hours, I probably made 80 orders, 80, 90 orders, uh, about 200 pizzas. And then I delivered 10 to 12, and I walked out with like $50. It's really good. So, like, I would drop everything. I always had a shirt on me. I would drop everything and I'd just go to work. And this is why I say, and I make the joke now, but I'm not actually joking when I say it. Because when I see people kind of get that overconfidence, I tell them, I'm like, you're replaceable. Sometimes I finish it off by saying, I mean, I know, you know, uh, I was good at my job. I'd get my paperwork done in 15 minutes. We'd close at midnight. 9 times out of 10, we'd be out of there 12:30. Um, and usually that was only when there was a driver on the road still, like taking a delivery. I was good at it, and it felt right. It felt like that was who I was. My daughter lives with me, and I live with my mom, and I would go sometimes a month or two, and I would never see my daughter, because work became my life. And then all of a sudden, Katrina stopped talking to me. It was around the time that I made a mistake and I said something to a former employee because I was trying to get him back, and I made a reference to her, and that was the point where the area coach caught it and tore my head off. And it really, to me, it wasn't that bad of a comment, and I think everybody misunderstood it because at the time it was me, Dana, and one other manager, and that other manager was not good at their job and was not a leader. So the place was kind of the inmates running the asylum, and it made things harder for me and Dana. So I made reference to Katrina as the blonde one, and I said, I wish they would bring her back over so we could get things fixed, and then she could go back. Everybody kind of took it as Katrina can fix things. That's not what I was saying. I was trying to say that there would be a concise management team. And if you have that, then everything kind of stays working right. But it got taken a different way. And then all of a sudden, Katrina, who I had just had a conversation with one night, because I kind of found it amazing that she and I never fight. We don't. We get along so well. Um, she's one of my two favorite people in this entire world. Her and my daughter. And both of them make me happy in so many ways. And when I see them together, it makes me even happier because it is 100% clear that they completely and utterly love each other. And that's something so good for a dad to see, that kind of a relationship. And so she stopped talking to me. And then the area coach, that manager that I was talking about, got transferred, and I was blamed for it because I was one of the people that she had problems with because I'm just as thick-headed as Katrina, and I don't know enough to shut my mouth. So manager had a problem with me because I didn't let her get away with stuff, and she also had problems with pretty much everybody on staff, but I was blamed for it. The area coach literally, when she transferred Dana, I started having major problems with the GM, pretty much yelling at me every shift because I wouldn't do things his way because his way was wrong. Um, Not going into policies and all that, but what he was doing was wrong, and he was teaching people to deal with different situations in the wrong way, and I'm not going to do that, and I refused. And so he would yell at me all the time, and I asked for a transfer, and I think I still have it in the text where she basically just said, "You're never going to be transferred. Because of you, I had to transfer another manager." Wasn't my fault, but okay. So I dropped it. He ended up getting fired anyway. And then we got a new GM. I didn't get to work with him because he had put in for his vacation before he got transferred. So it's not right to take his vacation away. So when he went on vacation, area coach went after me. She opened an investigation that took 2 days. Upon the completion of the 2 days, I go into work hoping to keep my job. She asked me to write down my version of events that I didn't know existed. I handed her that paper and she shuffled it to the back after reading it, stating, "Well, that's not what I have." And then the next paper underneath it was my termination notice. And nobody would help me. I contacted lawyers, Dan Newland, Morgan and Morgan. We're not saying that you don't have a case, we're just not going to take it. So nobody would help me. I also was contacting the company that owned, and of course, my 2.5 years and the investigation versus her 20 plus years. Of course, I lost. They wouldn't even take a second look at it. So I got a job at Domino's, making less than 20 grand a year. A lot of people don't get that delivery drivers, we rely off of tips. Um, we get paid servers wages when we're on the road, and compensation really doesn't help. It's not like we get, you know, a crap ton of money for compensation. We get very little. So we rely on tips. So, at a busy store where you're doing maybe 25, 30 deliveries a night, if, you know, three people don't tip, it sucks, but you can still make some money. But if you're only taking 10 to 15 deliveries and three people don't feel like tipping, it can really mess up your night. So making nowhere near just kind of sucks. So this year I got transferred to a store where I was taking 10 deliveries, driving 100 miles, and I'd be basically walking out of the door with 40 bucks in my pocket. Then I would go down to the gas station and $15 of it would go into my gas to fill up. And remember, when I'm on the road, I'm getting paid server's wages. That's $5.44 now. It's not a lot. So it's like you divide that 35 by that 35 that's left. Actually, not 35, 25 that's left over a 8-hour period. It's not equaling up to $3. So I asked several times, I was like, man, I'm not making money. I had to borrow my car payment from my buddy Adam. Then I had to borrow money from my mom for the second car payment. I was like, man, I'm drowning here. I need to get out of the store. Oh yeah, when we hire somebody to replace you, yeah, we'll transfer you. They hired 5 people, and I still had to beg and plead, and I had to do basically back end deals with managers that I met through that just to get into better stores. So Domino's was just a shit company to work for, and I ended up getting fired from there right after the district manager says, "Oh, we have your back. We're going to make sure that you don't lose your job." And then less than a week later, I lost my job. I barely have anything for my own daughter for Christmas. I mean, I have a lot, really. I have probably like 4 or 5 gifts, but anybody that knows me knows that that's nothing, and it sucks. And started making money, and then I get a fucking ticket. Can this year be over already? I know this is one of the worst videos. So Debbie Downer. I'm doing like a interview with myself. Um, but this is one of the reasons why I did this because this is real. This is me. When I'm acting goofy and I start being very weird, that's part of who I am. And when I'm talking about movies, it's something I love, and when I'm showing off my collection, it's something I love. I'm really disappointed that this week I didn't get to do my collection addiction because, I mean, I have so many cool Harley Quinn stuff that just makes me happy. And I started my Patreon, which by the way, the link is below. Um, right now I just have the $5 tier, just to kind of join and help, which I'll, give you a shout out. Um, uh, I just started, so I've got I've got a list over there. I took Diamond Dallas Page. I kind of took a little. I guess it's kind of advice. He kind of when he tells his story, um, he was never supposed to be a wrestler. He never thought he could be a wrestler or anything. His his whole thing. I don't know a wrist lock from a wristwatch, and he had at least one person that believed in him. The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. And I love this story. And it's better when DDP tells it. But he was on the phone with him one night. And, he was frustrated. And he's like, I mean, he's like, Dusty, I'll never be you. I'll never be Hulk Hogan. I'll never be Rick. I'm not world champion. And Dusty stopped him and said, "What did you just say?" And he goes, "No, after that." He goes, "Well, I'm not you. I'm not world champion. I'm never going to be world champion." And Dusty goes, "Then what the hell are you here for?" So after getting off the phone, Diamond said they always had these pads next to thing in all these hotels that they would stay in. So he took a pen and paper and that pad and wrote down, "In 5 years, I'm going to be world heavyweight champion." And he knows the exact day, down to the exact day. And within 5 years, he held the World Heavyweight Championship. So I kind of took something from you, Diamond, Mr. DDP. I have a list that I have on my wall. I actually like screwed it into my wall so that it won't fall down. And I have to look at it every single day I leave my room. On that, it has Suicide Kings Production, which is the production company I want to do. And it has two semi-titles on it. And I put in 5 years, I put the exact day, I'm going to publish these two graphic novels, or at least one of them. And then I put a 10-year thing and said it's going to be a live action movie in 10 years. So I have that up on my wall. Now I got to make the time to sit down and do it, and I got to do it. I have so many other things that I want to do. Um, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I have that Patreon now. Because everybody needs help. Everybody does. Hoping that I'm due for some luck. So, I'm like very unanimated right now, very somber. But it's kind of why I'm doing this, because it's ultimately why I got the ticket. I don't have an outlet, and when I get off work, I kind of open it up and I just see what my car can do, and it's not even an adrenaline thing because I don't have any adrenaline pumping through my system when I do it. Basically just me being a smartass and life finally catching up with it. And I say every time I think something's looking right, I make a stupid mistake. I'll try to be more positive, but I literally sit here and I'm like, can this year be over already? Because so much has happened. No, I'm not tired. Yes, I have sleeping pills in me. Um, See if they work tonight. But yeah, so I am going to be doing the Harley Quinn collection. By the way, that actually reminds me because I was talking to my manager yesterday, the manager on duty, and we were talking artwork, and she likes Greg Horn too, which actually you can kind of see right there. That's one of his over the bin that's currently on my bed. That's Raven from the Teen Titans. But so we were talking about that, and then later on in the night, I delivered to somebody, and like, if you can strike up a conversation, it always makes you feel like, well, maybe you'll get a better tip because you're doing it now. You don't always get that opportunity. Waiters and waitresses have it a little easier because it's not a 30-second interaction. They're getting food, water, drinks, all that kind of stuff. Um, so I made the comment. And I was like, "Hey man, I really like your Greg Horn art." And I knew it was Greg Horn because I had one of them. It's his Gambit and Rogue posing on a building. By far one of my favorite comic book couples. And it's a couple that kind of gets overlooked, and this is why they're my favorite. A lot of people put Joker and Harley, but if you actually know anything about Joker and Harley, that is probably the worst relationship. Joker beats the living hell out of her and then mentally fucks with that woman. I mean, go into her history. Dr. Harleen Quinzel is a brilliant woman, and she's such a captivative character because, like, there's a comic out there. I don't know. I know of the moment. I don't know what comic it comes from, but where her and Black Canary are fighting it out, and Black Canary starts getting a dizzy spell. And Harley, in the middle of this fight, just completely stops, looks at her, and goes, "Are you okay?" And Black Canary, being Black Canary, goes, "I'm fine. I'm just pregnant." And they both end up sitting there just talking. And after all of that, when Black Canary's Dinah Lance is in the hospital, delivering the baby, Harley shows up to the hospital with toys. Like, she actually brings gifts to Black Canary and her child. And it's like, it's stuff like that. It's such a weird moment, but it's like it's so heartwarming. And so, like, that's another reason why Harley Quinn is actually such a fun character, because she is a character. She's flawed in so many ways, but she has heart. She has so much going for her that we all, like, look at her and go, "Why are you with this person?" Um, Now going into the Rogue and Gambit, if anybody knows about their powers, basically Gambit takes a playing card, which he can do this with anything, but he takes a playing card, and through skin contact, he charges the kinetic energy in the card and turns it into, I think, potential energy. If I'm getting that wrong, I was a C student in science. I'm a straight A student in math, and I'm like a BC student in English. So give me a break. Um, but so he charges the card, which he can actually do this to any item, anything. He can actually grab a hold of you and do that. And then at one point, he can actually charge air, because he's somebody that kind of goes back and forth between being like just a really strong mutant and being an Omega level mutant. Um, so he can basically blow shit up, and Rogue cannot touch you. If she touches, so she has skin on skin contact, she absorbs your life force, she absorbs your memories, and in the case of mutants, she absorbs their mutant abilities. Which Rogue in the comics, one of her big things is um, Danvers. Wow, I can't think of it. Miss Marvel, which we know her as Captain Marvel because Brie Larson was just in the movie Captain Marvel. But Rogue was with her adoptive mom, Mystique, and Mystique told her to grab a hold of Miss Marvel, and she told her, "Don't let go." And so she held on too long. Now, if Rogue holds on too long, that person dies, and then she they kind of live inside of her. So Miss Marvel is actually inside of her psyche every now and then, and it causes her major problems, but she has super strength and she has the ability to fly now. She keeps those powers. Now, Danvers, Miss Marvel, ended up in a coma, but sooner or later she does come back out of the coma. But so Rogue can't touch anybody. Gambit can blow up cards, but there's another ability he has, which is his eyes. They emit a hypnotic wave, so he has the power of suggestion. So he can actually make people fall in love with him. Now, if you know about this power, it somehow diffuses the power. I don't know why, but he doesn't use it on Rogue. And he actually does love Rogue, which is probably why he doesn't use it on her. And she truly does love him because anytime he's in peril or whatever, she's the first one to kind of go, "You idiot," and smacks him. And then my favorite thing in the cartoon show is one time when he was in real danger, she ran up to him, so glad that he was alive. She takes her hand, which is she has a glove on at all times, puts it over his mouth, and then kisses her own hand, basically saying that she kissed him. And that's what Gambit looks at it as. So they're kind of one of my favorite couples because they both clearly love each other, but they really can't be together. But yet they can't kind of walk away from each other either. So it's one of my favorite couples in comic book lore. So that was up on his wall. And yeah, so I made the comment and he goes, "Huh? Oh, like you have it up on your wall." Might have been his roommates, I don't know. But what ticked me off though is well, you can't see anymore because I tilted the camera, but all my artwork is up on the wall. Now it is in a frame. I get the frames from Walmart. They're like 3, $4, and the frame is like literally so thin that you can't see it for the most part unless you're really looking. And so you can focus more on the art rather than the frame because a lot of frames are like thick. Um, So I do that, but his were clearly not. So he either used tape or he used push pins, and that hurts me. But I've gotten into so many weird things trying to have like a small conversation. Um, Years ago when I went to WrestleMania, which number was that? 33 in Orlando, 33, I think. Um, I think it was the next day or the day after that, I was delivering, and this I always called him the Hulk because he was just like massive. He's probably bigger than Triple H, Batista, and John Cena. Like this guy is just freaking insanely huge muscles. So I always called him the Hulk. I don't even know his name. What I always liked about him, he's a good tipper. And he'll do it even when he comes into the store. Like I saw him one time. I'm like, oh, it's my register anyway. But I was like, oh, I'll help the next customer, so I could get the tip because he was like a $9 tipper. Um, but he was wearing an Apollo Crew shirt, which Apollo Crew is a wrestler for WWE. Actually, he might not be a wrestler for WWE anymore because I don't know what's up with him. He just kind of faded into obscurity. So I don't know if he's still under contract or not. So I started talking to him about wrestling, and his girlfriend chimed in. She goes, "Oh my God, is he trying to talk to you about wrestling because you're wearing a wrestling shirt?" I was like, I sat there and I immediately like stiffened up and shut my mouth, and I was like, well, I was trying to. Like here I'm trying to like do a conversation and she's kind of like giving me an attitude about always that stuff. And yes, I do voices to make fun of people. Everybody does. Don't pretend like you don't. Anyway, this has been a very somber episode, and I'll try to get my the pep back in my step. Um, but that's what this show is about. WT Friday. My own play on words of what the fuck, basically. So anything on my mind, this is what we're going to talk about. This is therapy, and it's getting myself out there. Um, I love watching shows on YouTube where I get to see some real. One of my favorite things to watch is Collider Live. Um, and Roxy Stryer is so cute and so gorgeous. Like she gets me laughing. And what's so funny is when she gets me laughing, it's when she's honestly making herself laugh, and everybody else is kind of going, "What is going on here?" And I'm just laughing with her, really, because I kind of get why she's laughing. She's such a unique individual that I adore watching her. She is so much fun. And it's so funny because she gets so much shit on the show, and I'm like, "Aw, I feel a kindred spirit." Wow, my stomach just growled. I don't know if you heard that on camera, but that was the loudest I've heard my stomach growl in forever. Um, but yeah, yeah, I'm calling Roxy Stryer out. So anybody that watches Collider Live, let Roxy know I love her on Collider Live, and yeah, no, she is really, really cute. Anyway, it's really cute. She's got the dimples, got a great smile. I like her personality. She's just a fun person. So it's really kind of cool. Although I do like Dorina, she's awesome, but it's just been one of my favorite shows. I feel so bad because I really like Christian Harloff, but it's kind of the same thing with John Campea. I love John Campea. John Campea was the reason why I started watching shows on YouTube. And then when he split off because of creative differences with Mark Fernandez, there's a pattern there. Um, I every now and then watch his show, but I kind of fell off, and I feel really bad because I really do like Christian. I like his crew, I really do, but it's just one of those things that, and they complain about it all the time themselves. Like they're sitting there doing shows where they're talking about like Mandalorians, they're talking about movies that are coming out, TV, all that, and everybody says that this is the most insane time to live in for content because there's just so much to consume. Um, I think I said it on here, but when I was showing my daughter the movies that I got for Black Friday, she literally looked at me and goes, "Do you really need more movies?" That's my daughter. She's got so much of Katrina's attitude, even though Katrina is not her mom. Those two are just alike, I swear. It's freaking crazy. But like, no, I don't have enough movies. It's like they come out with so many, like that wall of movies right there. While that does encompass all the way back into like the mid, probably actually early 80s to now, I mean, like one whole shelf, which is, I, it's got to be a close to like 75 to 100 on each shelf. And it's like, and if you add nowadays what comes in the movie theaters, what comes out in like independent, so straight to VOD, Netflix movies, Amazon movies, Hulu movies, Disney Plus movies, like there's probably every single year around 100 movies that come out. And I'm very mainstream. I don't do a lot of independent movies. Every now and then, I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I still kind of like Netflix. But part of me is like, I'm probably gonna cancel Netflix because Disney Plus has so much good shit. I'm doing my free trial right now just because I was like, I was in a good place, and I found it funny. The first thing I wanted to watch because I want to watch Disney Channel original movies. The first thing I wanted to watch, I was like, I want to watch Brink, and so I put that on. 5 minutes into it, I literally sat there and I'm like, I'm gonna kick myself if I don't start watching Mandalorian. Everybody's talking about it. I kind of want to know what they're talking about. And if you saw my like 10-second review of Crazy Rich Asians, I said the exact same thing. Now, again, I'm not a big Star Wars guy. You look around my room at all the stuff I love, and Star Wars isn't represented that much, except for I do have a Leia. piece of art in my closet, if I have a like a space on my wall, there's something there. I literally rigged up. I have one of those big old poster frames, and I have three pieces. Well, technically, I have four. Okay, so I have four pieces. It actually still fits with what I'm saying. What I was saying. I have four pieces in there that I can't find frames for. Like I have to order the frames, and I kind of pieced them together, and it's really kind of funny because it's got Joker and Harley over here. It's got Mad Max Fury Road, and then in the middle and actually behind it is a Aliens. And before I put the last one in, the focal point of the thing, you have the alien up top, and then you have Sigourney Weaver on the bottom. But then I have a Power Rangers kind of thing, which I kind of find it funny because the artist did Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and he put both the Green and White Ranger in it, and it's like, um, they're the same person. So it's really kind of funny, but that one's like an 11 by 22. So I didn't have anything. So I have that up there. But what people don't know is like you can kind of see right there this red spot. That's a curtain. I put curtains all over my walls to kind of give a really cool aesthetic, but without painting them. And I don't like light. Um, for a long time in my life, I was really, really afraid of the dark. Um, but when I stopped the light, stopped having the light on, I uh, I wanted pitch black, and I cannot stand. Luckily, my clock has a dimmer on it, because even that will drive me crazy. And I know what you're saying, but you got your eyes closed. Yes, I got my eyes closed. But I also have insomnia, and if any little thing is bothering me, I cannot even attempt to go to sleep. I always kind of wonder how my sleeping pills work because I tend to have to like go to the bathroom a lot with them, and it really sucks because like I'll go to the bathroom and then I'll roll back and forth on my bed because I can't find a comfortable spot, and I always end up sleeping the exact same way anyway. Um, but I'll be sitting there and I'm like, oh crap, did I go pee? And then I'm like, I don't want to get up. I'm just gonna like go to sleep. I'm an adult. And I'm like, fuck, let me go pee. So, if my sheets have even a slight bit of wrinkle where my foot is, it will fucking drive me bonkers. And I have been known to strip my entire bed, remake the entire bed just to uncover it and get into the bed. But I think that's one of the things with my sleeping problems. Like any little thing will bother me. I literally have to text my friend every night and say good night. It was something that I started, and now I can't even get to sleep. If I've sat there and I all of a sudden realize I didn't text them, have a good night, I literally have to get up, go over and text them real quick. It's something that bothers me. It's so weird, but it's something that bothers me. And when you're trying to fix yourself with an issue like that, that's what you got to do. You kind of got to lean into them a little bit because sleep is the most important thing. It's so important, and I don't get enough of it. And I don't ever get a relaxing night's sleep either. I'm always like waking up every few hours. I remember there was during the summer, it got so bad. I work at night, so I don't go in till 5 o'clock. And my job right now only takes me 15 minutes to get there. And I still show up like 45 minutes early because that's just me. But so 5 o'clock's when I get in. Even if I go to bed at 8 a.m., still plenty of time to sleep. But during the summer, it got so bad that I was literally waking up every single hour. And I mean, I had actually, that's when I was taking way too many sleeping pills. Um, my best friend from Michigan, Brandy, who I love so much, if you end up watching this, love you. Um, she came unglued and I know why I did it. I know why I told her. I told her so she could say that to me because I needed someone to say that to me. And she just came unglued when she found out how many sleeping pills I was taking per night. Um, so bad. It's still not in a great way, but it's nowhere near where it was there. But I was literally waking up every hour on the hour. Um, so bad. But I still got to be hopeful. And I got to stop making stupid mistakes. Because like I said, I have no outlet and it just really sucks. I have sleeping problems. I have just so many issues I'm working through. And this is what this show is doing. It's giving me an outlet to talk, and hopefully that helps. So, yeah. When I got home tonight, I wasn't going to do a show at all because I was just so incredibly upset. That's why I'm skipping this week of collection addiction. It will hopefully be back next week, um, as well as my Follow the Script show, KFAB, Breaking KFAB, all that will definitely be back next week. Um, as usual, I don't really know what to talk about. I'm probably going to talk on Breaking KFAB. I'm going to probably talk about um, John Morrison a lot, and we'll go through some stuff. They have some really cool items on WWE Shop, so I'm definitely gonna kind of bring up those. Bray Wyatt, they are doing some serious shit with him. Um, by the way, I know that this is not Collider Live, but if you like this hat, was made by Heroes. My ponytail. Heroes and Villains. I'm trying to see. Yep, you can actually see it in the hat. So Heroes and Villains. So go to heroesvillains.com / wait, no, never mind. um, but go to heroesvillains.com. There's no space. It's just heroesvillains.com. They're running a promotion now. I think it's like 25%. And if you put Collider Live's coupon code, which is live10, you'll get an additional 10% off and you'll give them bragging rights. So you get an additional 10% off. You can get really freaking cool shit. Dude, even my wallet is from Heroes and Villains. I think I brought it up on the show. Like, my daughter doesn't want the WWE Slam Crate anymore. Honestly, I think part of it is that she has different interests, but I think she's kind of understanding that we were kind of low on money, so I'm still trying to figure out what I can get her. um, once I can fix the stupidity in my life. Um, but so I canceled it, and all of a sudden, a random crate arrived. I looked on my order history, nothing. And I started looking through it, and it was all Star Wars stuff. I got a shirt, I got a poncho, I got a hat, I got a wallet. Think I got a patch, and then I got a raincoat. So I put the raincoat. I'm a delivery driver, so I put the raincoat. As you can always see, I always have this hat on. It is one of the most comfortable hats, and I love that, which I found out is dad cap style, like a dad hat. It's really, I didn't know that was the name. Um, but if you have long hair like I do, it doesn't mess with your ponytail. Like at work, I have Velcro, and it doesn't mess. And the other thing about it is that, like with the snapbacks, they're preset, just like a uh, a belt. And I actually do have problems with belts because I feel like I'm always a half size, but I wear very specific types of belts that I like, and they don't do half sizes. Um, so every now and then, depending on how much I'm eating, sometimes my pants will feel tight as fuck, or they will feel too loose, and I'll have to tighten them, and then they get tight as fuck. Um, because even though like these are the baggiest pants I have, and it's like that's really not baggy. Um, I really like these pants though. But Helix Jeans is not around anymore. Damn it! Found a nice pair of jeans, and you guys took them away. Where was I going with this? I don't know. But I really just lost my train of thought completely. Why was I talking about my pants? Oh, yeah, I don't wear baggy pants, so they're not like sagging down. So I have a belt and they go on my waist. And it's like sometimes they're a little loose fitting and I have to tighten the belt. Sometimes tighten the belt is too tight. I untighten it and then I'm like, the pants are starting to like sag down just a little bit. They even if I took the belt off, actually these pants maybe not. But one of the styles, they're all the same size. It's so weird. But one of the styles, because of the different type of material the jeans are made out of, one I think ended up stretching a little bit more. And I remember when I was working at Pizza, my belt broke. I had to take a break and go get a belt because I was like, I mean, I can wait. My mom had my daughter at karate, and I called her up and I was like, I got a belt in my room. It's here. Can you, when you get a chance, can you run home, get it, and bring it to me? And she's like, no problem. But then I took a delivery. I had to grab a hold of my pants because they literally were falling off of me, and they're not baggy, but it just, at the time, I lost a little bit of weight and they just started dropping. So all of a sudden, I'm holding on to them. So I had to like take a break and go buy a belt. So that was so funny. I've had some funny moments, but also made a really, it's not a joke. I might put it on here. It was just something I was thinking of. As we all know, Thanksgiving was last week. Yeah, I think it was last week. I don't know. But when leading up to it, delivering, typically you do say happy holidays, have a good night, all that kind of stuff. Thanksgiving was coming up, and I said happy Thanksgiving. And as I was leaving, my mind that's always all over the place, which again, I always say this, if you could see my entire room, this is the best representation of my what's going on in my head at all times. I hated whenever my ex asked me what was on my mind because I'm like, a lot of things. And when a girl asks you what's on your mind, they want you to say you. So she basically, every girl wants the guy to say, "Oh, only you, which they know is lies, but it makes them feel better. Um, I don't lie very well, and I'm like, lots of things. So this is the exact representation. So anyway, so I said happy Thanksgiving, the person said it back to me, and as I was walking to the car, and we're inundated nowadays with so many people, as my friend would say, that get butt hurt so easily. Um, and like so many people call racism racists and bigots and all that. And I'm all of a sudden this thought crossed my mind, and I'm like, if I said happy Thanksgiving and all of a sudden the person goes, I'm Native American, or all of a sudden you look up and you can tell or whatever, I'm like sitting there going, if I said happy Thanksgiving to a Native American, would that be considered a hate crime? And it started going through my head, and I'm just like, probably is. And it's like, shit. But it's one of those things. I probably, even if I did that, the person would probably just look at me because probably used to it, because everybody says happy Thanksgiving. But it's like he or she probably just wouldn't care. But it was just like in my mind, because I've had so many people. So if you've ordered delivery with your card, when we present it to you, it looks directly like a credit card receipt from like Longhorn Steakhouse or Red Lobster, and it has tip, total, sign. A lot of people don't fill out the tip and total, and I always want to make sure it's filled out. Um, because I have heard people, I'm never going to do this because I'm not putting my job in jeopardy. But I heard somebody got fired right when I got hired at Pizza Hut for this. But they would basically switch out the receipts, forge the signature, all that kind of stuff. And where it was blank, they would add tips. So I always sit there and go, I just need you to fill this out. You can give me a tip or a zero, and then just total that. No big deal, right? I'm not, that's not me begging for tips. Yes, I put tip before no tip, but the line says tip. Um, and this guy got pissed, started tearing me a new asshole, saying, well, what if I don't want to tip you? And just starts basically screaming at me. And I'm like, no, 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 you don't have to. Just fill that part out. That's all I'm asking. He fills it out, hands it back to me, and then proceeds to hand me a $5 bill and then close the door. Safe to say, I got in my car as quickly as I could and drove off, because I literally just got yelled at as if I was begging for a tip, and then he still ended up tipping me. I actually had a customer very kind of mean when I was working at Domino's, um, who basically said, "Well, she don't want to tip you," basically, and just kept giving me attitude the whole time. So once he finished, the transaction was done. He handed me my stuff. I took it. I started going, and then he starts yelling at me some more. And I'm sitting there going, I don't deserve this. So I didn't say anything to him. I just kept walking, because I was like, I'm not going to sit there and be yelled at. It's like, you just yelled at me. He calls the store, said I was extremely rude, and that he was calling me back to try to give me a tip, and that I just ignored him. And it's like, yeah, I ignored him because he had just torn me a new asshole. Why would I stick around for more punishment? But that's not being me being rude if I just quietly walk away. So, I mean, there's so many instances of that. The other night, I got to tell this story because this is the opposite, and this was my mistake, and I felt so bad by it. I forgot the guy's sodas, and it was just one of those. random things I thought I checked, but I didn't or just didn't grab it. And I was like, listen, man, I said it before he ever signed anything or anything like that. I was like, okay, I just need you to sign this. And listen, I forgot your sodas. I apologize so bad. It was my bad. But I wanted to make sure to bring you your food. I'll go back to the store, grab your sodas, and I'll bring them back out to you. He looked at me and goes, don't worry about it. If you can just tell him to give me a credit for it. He goes, I understand it. Like stuff happens. And so we did give him a credit. Um, but he pre-tipped on the card $5. Good. That's actually what we want to like as a person that relies on tips for things. Like that's a great tip. That's awesome. Um, he proceeded to hand me another $7. I I'm so sorry. I felt so bad. And I know I'm doing like a jokey kind of thing right now, but I felt so bad. I was like, this guy is so nice. He didn't get mad at me. He didn't even make me drive all the way back out to bring him his sodas. And he gave me more money. I'm such an asshole. So there are good people out there. I know I said a lot of negative things. There's a lot of good people out there too. Um, such such a weird industry, but there's something about it I like. I miss my family though. I miss my crew. I miss that feeling of going into work and I never looked at the clock. Actually, that I did look at the clock only for one reason, timing, because I wanted to know, okay, it's this time, we still got some drivers, we're slightly busy. What can I get done now in order to get out on time or before my scheduled time out, whatever like that. So I would look at time for that, but I wouldn't look at the time like, oh my God, I want to go home. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I want to go home. Clock, move faster, move faster, move faster. Like I wouldn't do that. Um, but it was so much fun. I had so many fun people to work with, joked around, talked movies, talked video games. So great. Um, Not that my crew is bad here. I just started. There's already some cool people that I like working with. Um, and they all work. I love that. I love it. So it's good, but it's not the same. And it was a job that I felt I was good at. A job where people believed in me. And I don't have that anymore. So I'm looking for validation right here. Give me validation. Um, but now being 32, um, I know that I really need to buckle down and get stuff done because I have a daughter, I have a car payment, I have so much going on that I've got to make strides to being a better person. Not that I'm a complete asshole, I'm not. I can be an asshole, and I'll be the first to admit when I'm being an asshole. But it's just one of those things. This is kind of like my midlife crisis, except for instead of wanting to go buy a sports car, like I need it, I got a ticket. Um, and like doing all that kind of stuff, I want to better my credit and I want to do something that's fulfilling. So, yeah. By the way, Triple H, Vince McMahon, when are you guys putting the physical Hall of Fame in Orlando? I want to work there. I would love that. Anyway, but so this is the end of the show. I just realized we're almost at an hour and a half. I just needed to get all this stuff out. I will be back Monday with Follow the Script. Probably going to talk some Star Wars. Now, since it's Follow the Script, TV can kind of be in that. So I'll talk a little bit about Mandalorian and what I think of it. Um, I'm not going to say anything negative because I actually don't have a negative. By the way, I will say this. By the way, spoilers. If you have not seen an episode or a meme or have not been on Facebook for the last like month and a half, but Baby Yoda 50 years old and can't formulate words. Could you imagine being 50 years old and you can't even say one word? Hell, even Baby Groot could say, I am Groot. Baby Yoda just cooing and cawing. But it it's so funny. Like it's so funny. But anyway, I'll be talking about that more on Monday. Um, I've got to relax a little bit because I got to go sleep because I got work tomorrow. This week I was originally scheduled 3 days, and now I'm scheduled 5. Again, something good happens, something bad happens. And it's my fault. But I will be back on Monday, um, talking movies, talking TV with Follow the Script. Anyway, guys, this has been a Suicide Kings production. YouTube show, WT Friday. As always, like, subscribe, comment, join my Patreon at patreon.com/Suicide Kings production. That's Kings with an S. And join my Patreon. Um, I definitely want to grow this. I definitely want to get people doing like me and them kind of Skyping, but it's not Skyping, it's through this program, which right there. Um, so hopefully I'll get my buddy Adam on soon. Um, again, sorry for such a downer of an episode, but that's what this is. It's this show, What the Fridays or WT Friday, is about me. Getting to know me better, kind of my therapy session, sort of. So, um, I always try to say I am trying to stay positive though. I just gotta relax a bit more. So anyway, like, subscribe, comment, join me on my Patreon, and I will hopefully see you guys Monday, barring world problems. Anyway, so see ya. I am gonna try to go to bed.